Yeah, we're excited. Week 2 we have UCLA at home at Sam Boyd, so we're excited to be here and get the season kicked off at home. So we're expecting a big crowd. I'm not sure exactly the number. I know we're around 22,000 tickets sold already. So I think it's been a while since we've almost filled that thing up. So we're hoping to get around 30 by the time we kick off. So we're excited. Back to work. We had a great practice today and had a good Sunday night practice. So we're ready to go.
What about, obviously you faced Rosen last year. Does that help at all? Are you talking about two different?
It's a lot different, really. Being familiar with him, I understand what a great quarterback he is. There's a reason he was one of the top quarterbacks coming out of high school. But it's not just about him. He's got some incredible pieces around him. UCLA is a very talented team, so he doesn't have to do too much. I think the whole thing with them is, and I think Coach Moore alluded to it, a different situation. It's a similar system that he was in, but still there's a lot of differences. He has a lot of poise. He did a good job staying in the pocket. He delivers the ball on time, and again, he's got a lot of pieces, and it's just him. He did a good job of distributing the ball to a lot of different guys.
Coach, what are some of the immediate things you need to do based on what you saw from last week and transitioning into playing a team like UCLA this week?
Well, your biggest growth you're ever going to have is from week 1 to week 2. It's pretty much, a staple, at any level. And we have to continue to play with the same passion and toughness we did last week. Really proud of the guys. We went back and we watched a film and you look at the effort plays. It was really good. Defensively we set out with a couple of goals and, not to give up big plays and to get some turnovers. And we didn't have those turnovers. We had a couple stops on 4th down that were big, but we really want to emphasize that again and get some balls out this week and get some turnovers, some momentum swings. And then offensively, we want to limit the drop balls. We made some really good plays in the passing game, but we dropped some balls too. We want to limit that. But, there's a lot of good things we did. We didn't have penalties. We had all our timeouts at the end of both halves. And that's a good sign with a mature team.
When you look at the better teams from around the country, and I think you would agree that in the coming years you're going to want to add quality depth, where you always say about competition at each spot. When you see the great teams able to get guys at the second and third level who probably start at most places, do you think it's as easy to say that's just because they win? When you go out now and sell this, how will you sell to the kid, I guess, you're fighting Boise State or San Diego State on to come into the better teams in the Mountain West, that you can come and you're going to have to compete, nothing's given to you?
Yeah, but I think it's a common trait, and I think the kids recognize honesty. So when you're out there and you're recruiting, you tell them what you're all about and the processes you go through. And kids want to be pushed, they want to be developed, they want to be in a competitive situation, and that's exactly what we're offering here. And there's no reason we can't compete with those teams, on the recruiting trail. And that's one of the biggest things we have to work on. We have to create some more depth. We're too young in certain areas. We have some great older players, but we just don't have enough of them. We had 3 offensive linemen that played 91 snaps, last week, and that's just too many. But it's a situation we're in right now, and I'm proud of the guys for the way they're fighting. And in the future we'll continue to recruit and we'll have more depth. But right now we have what we have, and we're excited about it.
Are you surprised when you see what Carroll did when he was at SC and now what Meyer does in terms of the third level guys? How can you convince a guy? Because isn't 2015 guys I assume want to play, they want to be on TV, they want to because they know the window's short. Are you surprised when teams are able to get that kind of ability where a kid could just go somewhere else and be a star?
Yeah, again, there's tradition. There's being on a winning program, and that's something you battle against, and that's what we're developing and we're going to build here. But you're right. Kids want to play. So I think that's one of those opportunities. We had 9 freshmen who ran around during the game, and I said that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because you're developing young guys, and we're not playing them because we're trying to get experience out there. We're playing them because we want to win. So we played the guys in the positions we felt that gave us the best opportunity to win. But again, in the future, you want to have more depth, and we're building towards that.
Thinking about just last year and then fast forward to your first game, what did you learn about yourself, your unit, the offense, and in terms of the product being put on the field just after one game?
Yeah, I think we learned a lot about ourselves in the fourth quarter. I think in the first half, our defense played extremely well and did a good job of limiting points. And we got off to an early start and played pretty well. We kind of stalled a little bit in the second quarter, but in that second half and in that fourth quarter, we kind of huddled the offense together and we said, hey, guys, we got to go out and battle for our defense, who played really well in the first half. And after doing that and seeing the reaction from them and willing to go back out and fight on that second to last drive and go down and have a long drive like we did and go score was big for us, and then to come back and put ourselves in a position to try to tie the game up again and drive down the field. It was good for us. It was huge for us, and we got a bunch of scrappy dudes that want to go out there and fight and are willing to fight for this guy, so we're happy about that.
Sonny, same question for you in terms of the defense is concerned. That third quarter, they really came out like you guys did, aggressive, went after it, took command of the game, but you guys showed resilience in the fourth and put you guys in a position to challenge for the win.
I mean, I guess it goes both ways with the offensive side and the defensive side, being able to help each other out. And we've come a long way since last year and the previous years. So, I mean, being able to execute alignment, assignment technique, and fanatical effort, and that's what we kind of worked on as a team, and being able to get to the ball and do everybody's assignment, everybody team as a team. So being able to come together as a team, as a defensive unit, offensive unit, it really kind of helped us help us get forward and get to where we wanted to be.
Both players, you guys, both, I saw you and Penny after the game, you both looked pretty ticked off, understandably so. Where you felt like it was there for the taking. I mean, it clearly wasn't a moral victory for you guys. Is that something for both players you carry over to this week?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people were really quick to say, hey, you guys played great, way to battle against a tough team, but I mean, we consider ourselves to be a tough team. I mean, we went into that game to win the game. We didn't go into the game to lose by 8 points and be happy with that, and so obviously we were disappointed. We still are a little disappointed, but it's time we had to shift that focus over to UCLA, and when we're in those close games, we want to come out on top, and that's what's going to help us to be happy, I mean, after the game's into the next week, but yeah, we carried the positives that we had last week, but we got to make sure that this week we end up on top. So,
Sonny, when you hear Coach say that one of the goals of the defense is to create turnovers, is there anything you can do defensively as a defense to create more opportunities for turnovers?
Just being able to do your own assignment. I mean, we talked about fanatical effort, everybody to the ball, wherever the ball is, everybody, after you do your 111, your assignment, alignment, technique, everybody, we all work on fanatical effort in practice, and that's one of the main things that I think we've come together as a defensive unit to kind of work on, is being able to create turnovers through fanatical effort. If everybody's there and everybody's around the ball, we can make things happen.
Like you, I'm sure you don't get caught up, but do you inherently challenge yourself this week knowing that even though he's only played one college game, now you turn on the TV and that's the quarterback you see and that's who everyone talks about now because of where he plays? Do you kind of challenge yourself within that you want to continue your effort? Do you ever get caught up in that in terms of like they'll be watching you against him? Do you ever get caught up in that or think about that?
yeah, no, not at all. I mean, offensively, we let the defense control what they're going to control against UCLA's offense next week, but in terms of us, we're focused on their 11 defensive players and going out and executing our plays and getting our stuff down. And yeah, we got to control what we can control, and we can't control anything on the other side of the ball. So no, we don't get caught up in that. We do our job. We focus on the 11 guys we have to go up against, and we hope for the best from there.
How do you think you were different the other night than you were last year? Just you specifically.
I think there was a couple plays where I kind of tried to maybe do a little bit too much and forced a couple balls, but I think all in all, I tried to do a good job of just staying within the offense and understanding that we have a ton of playmakers on the outside. I mean, those are the guys that are going to win games for us and the guys up front, and our running backs did a great job for us, running back by committee, and so just by allowing them to make the plays and let them do their thing, I mean, I think that kept us close and gave us a shot at it towards the end. So,
Tony, you inherited a whole team. Obviously, the quarterback's a very important position. When you first saw him on film, what did you think you needed to do to get it better? What did you think he did well? And because you probably, even though you had a competition, I would assume you kind of knew all along he'd have a good shot at it. So what did you think of him, and then how you played?
Yeah, you know, you're kind of silently rooting for him because he has the experience. He's been out there. He's been in those big games, and you know, he's a good runner. He's a dual threat. He's got a good arm. And the biggest thing we talked about in the offseason was just decision making. You know, making sure that we did a good job of teaching the offense so that he felt comfortable in the decisions he had to make. So it limits turnovers. I mean, we knew we had a good quarterback. We knew that if we got him comfortable with what we were doing, he'd do just fine. And it showed on Saturday. He had a great game.
How do you mention that it's more than Rosen, which it is, obviously, returning 18 starters? What's about UCLA offensive and defensively that sticks out to you the most?
Team speed. I mean, they're an extremely fast football team. When you look at them, excuse me, you see they're athletes all over the place. I mean, they just run well at every darn position. I mean, you got Miles Jack, and he'll be carrying the ball, and he'll line up outside on a receiver. He'll come inside. I mean, they've got a lot of guys like that that are extremely explosive. And they're the 13th ranked team in the country for a reason. You know, they've won a lot of games. They developed a great program. Coach Moore's done a good job, and we're excited. I mean, the last 2 days, we are fired up about practice. We're fired up about competing against these guys. We're glad they're coming to our house, and, you know, we're looking for a scrap.
What do you do to kind of slow down that speed, or at least
Call timeout. We just, you know what, like Blake said, we do the things we can control. I've always said, the biggest focus is on ourselves. It's not our opponent. Obviously we see what they do schematically. We've got to do a good job of making sure our checks and, we change some things up from week to week. But really it's on us and our continued growth. We have to do a better job up front, blocking. We got to do a better job defensively of tackling. We have to do, a better job of scoring when we're in the red zone. We have to do a better job of creating turnovers, keep the fanatical effort. And again, the focus is really on us as developing as a football team. And if we do that with the high level of intensity and energy, you always have a shot to win a game.
For the players, what do you think about the break team coming in here? Again, people aren't giving you much of a chance. In the locker room, though, what's it like?
I think it was similar to last week. I think we were asked a similar question, and it's we've got a lot of belief in that locker room. We're not going into this game to looking for any moral victories. We're going in to win a football game and stay competitive and stay in it. I think every week against any team, you can view it as an opportunity or you can view it as a threat. And I think for us right now, we're viewing every single one of the games we have in front of us as an opportunity to showcase what we have, to go out and fight, to put on a good show, and to come away on top. So, the morale's high in the locker room. The guys are excited. We're excited about our first home game in Sam Boyd, and we're excited to get everybody out there and get going with it.
Do you think it helped you maybe and it's your last year, so obviously your last year you want to be the starter, come in and you were the starter, but do you almost think it helped you in terms of the coaching change was decided, so you had to fight for your job, maybe more so than you would have if there was no change? You think that actually helped you to compete, that you probably had to this fall camp, that maybe if there wouldn't have been a change you wouldn't have had to?
I think that played a part. At the same time, we've got a ton of other senior returning starters that had to do the same thing. They had to go out and battle for their job, battle for their position, and in so doing, I think that created that competitive nature, that competitive environment, not only on the football field, but in the classroom, and the weight room, on the field during sprints, during the summer. And I think that just all in all collectively helped that all of our upperclassmen and returning starters from last year just be forced to become better because we were competing against the guys that were coming in. And so, it was definitely an advantage for us.
Tony, you mentioned the depth problem before. There was one of the guys who played awesome was Keith Whiteley. Is the plan to work the freshman a little bit more, or is the concern about maybe picking up the pass blocking, where maybe Whiteley's better at that?
Well, Keith is our starter right now, and he had a good game. We'd like to get Lexington the ball a little bit more. We've talked about that, and even Xavier. He's got to earn it in practice. But Lexington and Keith are the guys right now. We do expect Lexington to get the ball more this game, and we'll see with Xavier. Again, he's got to earn it in practice. He's got to continue to improve, but we plan on getting him the ball more.
Is Whiteley just head and shoulders above it when it comes to the pass pro? Is that part of the reason why he gets?
It's not even that. I think you saw in the game the other night. They're freshmen. It's tough when you walk into your first collegiate game. It's a tight game. You got to be careful how much you put on those young guys. But as the season progresses and moves on, their level of comfort will rise. And when it rises, they'll play a little bit more. So we expect them to play more this week, and then the weeks go on and on. So it's not really about who's better than the other. We have 3 running backs. We're going to use all of them all year.
Like, you talk about the faith in the locker room and the mindset, but is it truly different than last season? Because I think you would have given that same answer last season as well.
Yeah, I think it shows. I think we can sit here and we can say that, but I think you turn on the tape from last Saturday, and I think it showed on the field, and that was the biggest difference. I think, and we are confident that it's going to show on Saturday as well. It's going to show every Saturday for the rest of the year, and I think that so much can be said in front of the camera, so much can be said in front of the media, but when you turn on the tape, the film doesn't lie, and so we're going to let the film speak for us on that one.
And Coach, even though the community is excited about the valiant effort on Saturday, it's still a loss, and that's unfamiliar territory for you.
Yeah, but I was clear about that on Saturday after when they asked me about it. We're not into moral victories. We went out there and we expected to win a game, and I think we played like a team that expected to win a game. Even when we got down, we battled right back. We didn't run for the hills. We did a great job. Our kids, they fought all the way, and we're going to continue to do it. It's a 12-round fight, and we're taking it 1 round at a time, right? But we showed a lot of improvement. You just statistically look at what we did, from a year ago from that game, and we did a lot of really good quality things. And let's face it, we did it. We were big underdogs in that game, and we were playing a team that's used to winning championships. Of the first 3 games we play, and I said it last week. The team we played last Saturday is the only team that's played in a BCS bowl game. They're the only team that's had a Heisman Trophy candidate. They're a good football team. So hey, we're not fired up that we almost won. We're a little upset about it, and that's motivation and energy we took out with us on Sunday, and we're excited about UCLA. So again, there's a lot of things you can say every week, but when the whole body of work's said and done, I think we'll be in a good situation.
But for you personally? Is it a strange feeling?
You know what? I don't really worry about myself personally. I mean, really, I worry about these boys. As soon as you sign up, as soon as you're UNLV's coach, it's not really about you anymore. It's about the coaches you bring in. It's about their families. It's about the players. It's about their opportunity to finish strong as seniors. It's about developing the young guys. I'll be fine. I've had a great career. You know, I got a good life, great wife, great kids. You know what? I'm worried about everyone else that's around me. They've bought in. They believe in me. They believe in what we've done. So now we want to go out and we want to do well for them. So I'm going to be fine. I'm very confident in my abilities, and I love the game. I love what I do every day. But it's these guys next to me that I really worry about the most, you know. So we're going to work hard and we're going to finish for these guys.
So I was wondering, when you first got here, was there kind of a, Northern Illinois scores right before the half, they come back in the second half and take the lead, but then you guys came right back and took the lead back and had a chance at the end of the game and so forth. When you first got here, is that like, oh no, the world's caving in? Is that all kind of gone now? That whole despair, like, uh-oh, here we go again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as Blake and Coach mentioned before, I mean, the culture has changed around here. So, I mean, we've learned to, when adversity hits us, we've learned to overcome it. And I think that's something we worked on through these past 8 months. Something that we've been challenged with, and something that we'll always face, adversity. But the fact that we've come together as a team, we talked about this, that it's going to happen. It's going to happen throughout the game, and it all depends on the way we react to it. So I think there's a lot of change. The culture's changed, tradition, and we've learned to face adversity in a positive way.
Was that probably a bigger issue than maybe even we out in the media and the community realized, that there was kind of that, oh no, here we go again kind of mentality, or before?
I mean, it shows on film. I mean, we matter. We do what we do as a team. So we form to push each other. The media will do what they do, but we will continue to be together as a team, to be able to push each other as a team, as offensive unit, defensive unit, and just together as a family.
Can you talk about that, Coach, man? Just a little bit how you saw these guys, that there wasn't a, oh, woe is us kind of after you.
Well, you know, you always got, when you first come in, you know, there's always that new energy, there's that new charge, you know, there's, you know, the breath of fresh air, so to speak, right? It only lasts for so long, so you've got to really attack and build some substance. And you know, like Sonny said, we talked about that. Hey, in every single game, there's going to be moments where things go bad. How do you react to them? It's no different than life. And there are things that happen in life that you're not expecting. You know, you lose a loved one, you know, you don't get a job or something. We talk about those things all the time. I mean, it's how you react to adversity really dictates the life you live. And this is a great opportunity to teach it, you know, and that's what we talk about all the time. So, and it's not just, you know, on game day. I mean, when these guys, there's a reason you're out there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in July and you're running wind sprints and it's 110 degrees, and you do that to build toughness. You know, our practices, if you go out there, yeah, the music's cranking and there's a lot of energies, but man, coaches are on kids. We're getting after them. We're challenging them on every single play. Why? To build toughness. Because when those tough moments come, if you're not prepared for them, it can really beat you up, you know, and we want to be a team that regardless of the outcome, regardless of the situation, we always stay in tune mentally. We stay focused. You know, we play with great execution, great effort, and we never give in. And, you know, we saw that on Saturday. Now, that's great. That's 1 week. We have a lot of weeks to go. It's going to continue to happen, and the way we respond will dictate the course of the season. But I'm excited about this group, and, you know, they genuinely care. And it's not just there. You look at the classroom, right? We came in, we challenged them, 2.2. It's just not acceptable. What do they do the next semester? They got a 2.7. We're better there. You know, we're getting better in all these different facets, and it's all going to bleed into the football field.
Sonny, sort of a two-parter. First, from what you see on video, what's your opinion of Rosen, and secondly, what's your opinion of the guys around them?
I mean, we face every quarterback the same every week, a new week, new opponent, and I mean, we're studying into him, what type of quarterback he is, more of a pocket passer. So being able to study him, study some of the guys around him, will be able to help us out on this Saturday.
What about the guys around him? What kind of stands out to you at this point?
We can't learn too much. We don't know that much about them, but I mean, throughout this week we'll be kind of in our scouting reports and film, learn more about them as this week goes on.
Have you seen much video on their defense yet, Blake?
I have, yeah.
What kind of sticks out to you?
Again, like Coach said, they're fast. They got a lot of speed in the secondary. They've got some big boys up front. The linebackers, they flow to the ball really well and they make a lot of plays. And they're aggressive. They play really aggressive because they seem like a confident defense. But at the same time, I mean, we're confident in our guys, and so we'll see who ends up on top.
Is it a cliche, or do you think there's truth to the fact that this is, like, you get one more year of college football as a quarterback and how you prepare and the window closes fast and you can't take anything for granted? A game like this must fire you up because you don't have many, college goes quickly. I mean, have you thought about that?
Yeah, I have. I think during the offseason, a lot of the seniors we got together, we had a lot of discussions, a lot of talks about just the fact that, hey, this is our last fall camp, this is our last spring ball, this is our last winter conditioning, this is our last first game of the year. We talked about it before last week, and you only have so many of these opportunities, and Coach Sanchez talks about it all the time, that you have to take advantage of those because it fades quickly, and you only have so many attempts at it. So knowing that, these big games that we have coming up they're great opportunities and great, things that we're going to be able to look back on and be proud of that we accomplished. And so, but at the same time, you got to stay focused during the week on what's coming up and be attentive and aware to what your assignments are and make sure that you're on point mentally too.
Tony, over the years at Foreman, you faced a number of talented teams and players, and you had it was a Pac-12 quarterback, Tate, Boney, and down the road. How would you compare Josh to some of the players you've seen over the years?
I think he's, as good as any of the players that, that I coached or played against. He's right up there. They're all a little different, some of the different nuances and talents that they have. And, but again, he is a freshman and he is still learning. He's still growing and developing. You're always going to be a little bit limited as a freshman, and I'm sure their coaches have talked about it, and I've seen them talk about it, and they're managing it. But he's got older, experienced guys around him, so I'm sure they're not asking him to do too much outside the box. Just do a good job, again, of distributing the football and making easy reads. And again, as talented as they are, you got to really put them in some compromising situations. We got to give them some different looks. We got to mix things up a little bit. You don't want to take too many chances, but you have to take some chances. So, we know, hey, this is a big mountain to climb, and, on paper, there's no real validity that, hey, we're going to win this game. But we don't play on paper, and we don't play in the media. We play on the football field. So we go out there, we do what we're capable of doing. We play with a high level of energy, we execute at a high level. We need to put them in some stressful situations and see how they react.
Tony, I know you want to balance schedules and so forth. How big is it to kind of bring a team like this, 13th ranked UCLA, a neighbor, down the road here? How big is a game like this?
Well, when you look at, especially even teams in the Mountain West and some of these, for lack of a better term, money games that they play, right? UCLA is a great opponent for us because we recruit in LA. It's a big name opponent. It's Pac-12, right? Again, most of the Pac-12 areas we recruit in. We have a bunch of people coming to the game, that are going to be glued in and watching that. And so I think it's advantageous for us to have a team like that coming on in Sam Boyd. When you have 22,000 tickets already sold and we're sitting here on Tuesday, it's been a long time since we put 25, 30, 35,000 in that stadium, and for that to be a regular season game, that's a big deal. It's not the Vegas Bowl. It's a Rebel football game, so that's exciting. So it's important that we go out and we play well and we keep this energy going.
Is it hard to do that, bring those kind of teams in here?
You know what? That's an athletic director question. I'm just focused on trying to run power and trying to stop them on D.
You don't want to play Savannah State next time.
No, we love it.
How much say will you, I'm sure you'll have a lot, but that was the big question of coaches here in the past, to go to, you're going to play a bye game next week, but you try to get UCLA a home and home. Like, what's your perfect schedule? Is it two that are kind of dicey and two that, you winnable? Because the coach in the past has been asked, how competitive do you want to be before you hit Mountain West?
Well, I think when you look at, most of the teams on our conference last week, and you look at the opponents they played, it's us, Hawaii, and Boise are the only ones that played a Division I team.
Right.
Everybody else played, non-Division I opponents, and I'm sure there's a reason for that, Having said that, I think it is important that you play some high caliber, big teams. I think it'll help you in recruiting. I think it helps develop you. It toughens you up a little bit, and they're great opportunities, like Blake said, and Sonny said. This is an exciting opportunity to go play, one of the top ranked teams in the country. Now, I don't know if you want to do it every single week, right. But at the end of the day, I just did an interview with someone from the LA Times, I believe, and I was, he was asking me about the game, and I don't care if it's Northern Illinois, if it's UCLA, if it's Reno, if it's Idaho State. This is college football, and everybody you line up against has the ability to beat you, and you have the ability to beat them. These are all kids on scholarship. They're all tough games. You can't take any one of them for granted. So I don't care who we're playing this Saturday. It's going to be a tough game.
Can you talk about your kicker and how impressed you were with his performance, how crucial he'll be?
Yeah, Nico Bornan did great, and Logan Younger too, our punter. I mean, he did a phenomenal job of flipping it and changing field position for us in the punting game, and then in the kicking game. Nico, he had his best day game one. Better than any practice, so it's always good to see. But we had a lot of confidence in him. That last week going into the game, he did a really good job of starting to straighten things out, and his distance got a lot better. But hitting a 51-yard field goal, that's something that a lot of teams don't have that opportunity to even attempt it. So I was confident in it and asked Coach Lewis, "You think we can make it?" And he said, "I think we can." And we went for it, and he had some room to spare. So, and it's not just that; his kickoffs were good. He did a good job of pinning those guys back. But anytime you're punting like that and kicking like that, those are two great weapons to have.
Still planning to get Kurt in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we planned on that since spring, and Blake knew going in, it's, hey, we're going to get him one series in the first half and one in the second half. And again, with the growth and development of the team, we have a strategic plan and we're going to stick to it. We're not going to be swayed by anybody. We're going to do what we feel is right, and I think it's the right thing to do in developing the program, and it mixes things up a little bit.
What's the plan the rest of the season, or is it week by week?
Well, you know what? I know for the first 3 games we planned on doing, and then we'll see after that.
For Blake and Sonny, you take away the players, what kind of comes to mind when you think of UCLA?
Oh, I think the first thing you think of is tradition. I think I had an opportunity a couple years ago to go to UCLA ASU game in the Rose Bowl, and you just think about the opportunity they have to play there week in, week out on their home games, and just, yeah, it's a storied, it's a rich program, and it's they're the types of teams that you dream about playing against growing up as a kid, and so to have this opportunity is again, it's a great opportunity for us to go out and compete and prove to ourselves and prove to the nation that we deserve to be out there with them.
Same thing, tradition, and I believe that their school has gotten a lot of exposure, and a lot of people are knowing more about UCLA and where they stand in the Pac-12. So I believe just their exposure and tradition of how they get things out there to people and how they perform in class and on the field can really help them get their name out there.
Wait, was that a recruiting trip you went on?
No, I wasn't. It was just out there with some buddies. I have a buddy who plays for ASU, so we were out there supporting him. This was before I was here, obviously.
Sorry, you guys cheering for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Sonny, did you hear about UCLA as a little boy? The coaches come to the islands and recruit some of the
Not UCLA, USC.
USC.
Yeah, so I've heard about them too, more so about USC.
Sonny, after chasing hair around last week, is it going to be nice to have a pocket passer you can kind of zero in more on?
Like I mentioned before, it's a new week, new opponent, so we'll approach every opponent differently, and how we prepare for them schematically on the defensive side.
28 in, you want more?
Timing.
Do we know how many season tickets you guys have sold? Do we have up-to-date season tickets? 43. 43.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.